I think in the past I felt a lot of shame for what I felt, so I didn't dare to express them because it's not that Katarina wasn't safe for me, but I was not safe with my own emotions.
Welcome to the Connection Codes podcast, where we help you go from disconnection and confusion to clarity, confidence, and connection. Whether it's in your marriage, your business, parenting, or just figuring out what's going on inside of you, we're here to help make emotions feel less overwhelming and way more useful. I'm your host, Tira Wages, mom of 4, CEO, speaker, and a big believer that emotions are not a problem to fix, but a tool to master. The Connection Codes are tools created by marriage and family therapist Dr. Glenn Hill and his incredible wife, Phyllis. They've helped thousands of people, just like you, experience real transformation. Let's get into it. A few weeks ago, Dr. Glenn Phyllis sat down with Friedemann, one of our certified coaches in Germany. And Friedemann said something that really struck me. He said, I thought that I was a good husband. I was doing my best. But then I realized I had been missing out on connection with my wife for years. He said that it wasn't that he didn't want to connect, he just didn't know how. For 16 years, Friedemann was in the ministry, and like many of us that are in leadership positions or in caregiving, any job that's demanding on our body, we teach ourselves to just function, and that's exactly what Friedemann did. If something hurt, if something felt depleted, if his body was screaming for rest, he would take a pill and push through. He ignored every signal because that's what he thought was required. And here's the part that broke my heart. He felt guilty for years because he knew his wife wanted more connection. And he just kept thinking, I'm giving it my best. Maybe you know the feeling. You're trying hard, you're showing up, you're putting in the effort, but somehow you're still missing each other. Before Dr. Glenn and Phyllis arrived in Germany, Friedemann did something brave. He sat his parents down, who had been married for almost 50 years, and he taught them the core emotion wheel for the very first time. And what happened in that living room feels nothing short of magical, because his mom, who had been told her whole life to stay quiet and take care of everyone else, finally had language for what she'd been carrying for decades. His dad was able to hold space for her without being overwhelmed. And after 5 decades of marriage, they went deeper than they had ever gone. But then, and this is my favorite part, they invited their friends over and did the core emotion wheel in front of everyone. They modeled what vulnerability actually looks like. And that is what this conversation is about. It's about the guilt of realizing that you've been missing with someone that you love. Not because you didn't care, but because you didn't have the tools. It's about learning your body, that it isn't a machine and it's communicating to you, and that's worth listening to. And it's about discovering that connection doesn't have to be complicated. The steps are simple. They're just unfamiliar. And it's about hope, the beautiful, life-changing hope that it is never too late. If you've ever felt like you're trying your best but still coming up short in your most important relationships, this episode is for you. Hi there, friends. Before we dive in, we want to let you know something important. While this podcast does feature a marriage and family therapist, we are not your therapist. This is a space for informational and educational purposes only. We're here to have a deep conversation over coffee. If you find yourself feeling stuck or overwhelmed, we encourage you to reach out to a trusted therapist, counselor, coach in your area who can give you personalized support you deserve. Because let's be real, life is way too hard to go at it alone, and your emotions are way too valuable to ignore. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get to the good stuff.
Hello, world.
Hi, friends. Wow. Well, it's coming to an end, our European tour. And we are so excited to have Friedemann with us this morning. He is from Germany. He'll tell you all about himself. But man, Friedemann, thank you so much for partnering with us while we've been here in Europe and for making especially Germany such a memorable time and just blessing us so much. So welcome, Friedemann.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you, Najar. always spending time with you. Great having you in Lüneburg. And yes, I love you very much.
So tell us a little bit about who you are and your family, and then how you became familiar with connection codes.
Yes, I'm married to Katarina for almost 18 years now. We have 2 kids, 14 and 13, a boy and a girl. I would say it's the prime time that we get to enjoy. We have a lot of fun together, but married life, teenager kids are challenging, but yes, but we're doing fine. We enjoy spending time with each other. We're having a lot of fun. How do I get to know the connection codes? Was a funny story because a friend of my wife's, she texted my wife with a message saying, "Hey, just get to know something. I got to know something with connection codes, and they have a book. You may want to read it." So my wife ordered the book, and that was the summer 21. And we were at the beach on our summer vacation, and my wife was reading the book at the beach, and she fell asleep. And I just saw the book on her chest, and I was kind of bored. The kids were in the water.
That she fell asleep reading our book.
Yeah, so I know. So I took the book and I read it.
Good for you.
And I couldn't stop reading. And so that's really where the journey began, because I got so excited at reading the book, and then contacting you guys to get your newsletter, listen to your podcast, and just starting my journey with connection codes until I heard about becoming a certified coach. Like, oh, I got to do this. We in Germany, we need connection codes, because really, it's not an understatement that connection codes changed my life, really changed our marriage. And it's like, I want people to experience the same.
Yeah.
And of course, you know us, that's our story.
Mm.
Connection codes changed our life, and so we share it with other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I thought I was a good husband until then. I mean, I really gave my best. But then reading the book, I realized how much I missed on my wife, how much I missed sharing. And it was not that I didn't want to share before. It's just like I tried to give my best, but so often I realized I don't know how to do it. I don't know. And I knew all these years I was missing with her. I was missing on her. And I felt guilt that she wanted more connection. And I thought, well, I had to give my best. But I didn't know how. But suddenly with the connection codes, I realized, ooh, you're giving me tools. What I love about connection codes, you don't feel ashamed, but you're getting tools to connection. I have tools that help me connect with her, and that was such a game changer in our relationship. And of course, at first, it caused a lot of pain and guilt, realizing, whoa, what I've been missing on, what I've needed it from me so many years before, but it was so much hope. Now we have the chance to do it differently, and it really changed our marriage. It changed our family, and I hope it's going to change way more than that here in Germany.
Yeah, I'm convinced that most people want connection. They want peace and safety. I don't think anybody marries to the idea of having a terrible relationship. That doesn't make any sense. Why would they show up on their wedding day? But they just don't have the tools, and they have no idea. And of course, our story. That was very much, we've always, as far as I know, always cared about each other. Well, I've always cared about her. I don't know.
I've always.
Okay. I didn't want to speak for it.
Thank
you. Connection codes were like a double healing to us, because first of all, I got in touch with my own emotions. I learned how to feel, and that it's okay to feel, and I can verbalize my feeling without shame. And of course, learning that sharing emotions brings closeness and brings intimacy, helps us to connect. So it was really healing on so many levels for me personally and for our relationship. And yes, it's about being healthy.
So tell us a little bit about your experience with going through the School of Connection and becoming a certified coach.
Well, that was an amazing experience. First of all, it was over Zoom, and I would have never thought that you can go so deep with people over the internet. People I've not known my whole life, but just for a period of time, we get to know each other, and through the wheel, you connect with people just by going deep and feeling safe. And I think this is so special, the special experience. You can know people, and when you're connection coders, you can give each other safety and space to process your own emotions. You can go so deep. You build friendships that hopefully will last forever because you reach such a depth. And that's amazing to learn about emotions. For me to learn, emotions happen to you. I'm not responsible for what I'm feeling, but what to do with it, that's my responsibility. It's not freeing. It's like I don't have to be shamed for what I feel because I think in the past I felt a lot of shame for what I felt. So I didn't dare to express them because it's not that Katarina wasn't safe for me, but I was not safe with my own emotions. But learning in the school how to share with each other and, not just with the person you're closest with, like with my wife, but also with others, made me realize, wow, connection is not something just for marriage, it's for life, it's for friendship, it's for churches, it's for business, for teams. And so, wow, connection is possible and it's not that complicated. I mean, connection is not easy, but the steps toward connection are not complicated. There's so much help available. And something that was really helpful was also learn to be in tune with my body, that my body speaks as well, that my body holds emotion, and it's worth listening to my body is telling. Because in the past, I've been in ministry for 16 years. I told my body to work and to function. And if it wasn't functioning, I took a pill, and that helped me to go further. Doing these years so many times, I realized now, looking back, my body was telling me, giving me messages that I just ignored because I thought, it's like this machine that has to work. And then realizing through the school, wow, my body is, of course, as a theologian, I know that God made body and soul as one unit. That my body is trying to communicate. He takes care of me. He gives me messages, what's happening inside of me, and I should pay attention. And starting this journey together with the whole group, learning, hey, pay attention to what's happening. It's healthy, good, and it makes a difference if you listen to what the body's trying to tell.
Wow.
Hello.
Yeah. And, I think about just how we met because of course, you coming up and doing the school, and that, it's like, I feel like at first it's a slower, we're strangers and there's a lot of students in the class, and, and yet I feel like there was a connection because of the fact that I grew up in Germany. So we had that little extra. And then we were invited to come to Denmark. And of course, when we said, Friedemann, we're coming to Denmark, we somehow have to also come to Germany. And I feel like it just got the wheels turning in your head as far as, okay, how can we make something happen? So do you remember that? Like, tell us a little bit about that time when you found out we were coming to Denmark.
Of course, I was so excited, like, oh, I got to meet you in person. I get to spend time together. Yeah, that was amazing. Well, of course, I knew, like, we need connection codes in Germany so much. And it's always easier to, to have the founders with your story. Your story is so powerful, you're impactful. So people need to hear you. That I was thinking that would probably open doors in Germany when they get to meet you. And, it's just exactly what happened. People got to know you, hear your story, got to engage with you. And wow, they are amazed to hear your story, than me sharing my story. So I was so glad that you came, that we get to spend time in Berlin and here in Lüneburg. And that was so impactful. Yeah, I loved every minute with you.
Yeah. Well, I remember during the planning stage, and this is, I feel like kind of a statement for everyone to hear, that there's a risk. You took a risk by saying yes, by getting it approved to even get a weekend where we were in your town. There's so many steps. And I know along the way, you've shared with us, you felt fear that there wouldn't be enough people. And I think you received a lot of even rejection from colleagues and friends. And you thought that there would be a lot more doors that would open, or a lot more, churches that would want us to come and speak, and I think we just kept communicating, like, Friedemann, we just want to be with you. So even if we just get to meet you in person and Katarina and be with your children, that was enough for us. And, but I just saw that you kept pushing and working hard to knock on doors and to make things happen. And one of the first things we did, we flew from Basel, Switzerland. No, we were in Geneva at that point. Geneva, Switzerland to Berlin. And you were in Berlin that weekend, which is, why we chose to connect there. And then our plane was delayed and we kept having problems. But you had, this was your home church from growing up, and your brother is the pastor there. And you had worked so hard to get us in front of anybody. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, we got to meet Rudiger and just how we had 1 hour with him and just what a difference that 1 hour made.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I really contacted lots of churches, many people, because I was excited. Like, wow, this is, once in a life time, come and get to know Dr. Glenn and Phyllis. And yes, I was frustrated that some people did not respond. And I think the reason is because people think, Connection Codes is another program, and we don't need another program. We have so many programs, and this is another program from overseas. They have no idea. Although, I think like, hey, when I'm excited, I can tell you it changed my marriage, it changed my world. Would you want to listen to that? But I guess as people got to know you, they realized, and even Berlin, as an associate pastor that we met with, and all the other people that we met, they realized Connection Codes is not just another program. It's something life-changing, and it's something that you do and it have changed on emotional health, on your relationships. And I think that's what the people got to realize as they listened to you, got to know your story, were open to hear more about Connection Codes, and not in the sense like, okay, tell me about this another marriage program or whatever program, but you realize, no, it's not about a program, it's about ourselves and what we personally gain from living an emotionally healthy life. And so that was amazing to see, whoever we met and you shared your story, they got to engage with the wheel, saw you doing the wheel, or saw me and Katarina doing the wheel. They realized, they sensed the connection that was happening. And then you realize what we're talking about with Connection Codes. It's not facts and figures that connects us. It's emotion we share from heart to heart. And it doesn't have to be these major emotions, even small emotions. Sharing what's happening with us brings such a connection. And that's amazing. I mean, I told you in the car the funny story with my parents. You stayed at my parents' house.
Yes.
My parents were supportive with Connection Codes, but not very interested in what is Connection Codes. And I didn't want to push it on them, so I kept my mouth shut. I didn't talk much about it. But because I knew you were coming that Sunday before you came, I told my parents, okay, guys, tons of fear, guilt, and shame, but Dr. Glenn and Phyllis will be at your house tomorrow. If they ask you something about Connection Codes and you have no clue what they're talking about, and they know, I'm a certified coach, it's going to be really embarrassing for me. So you got to sit down, you got to listen, and I'll tell you about the basics, about Connection Codes, about the wheel. I ask you to listen. Now it's my time. And so I just shared the wheel and just some information about Connection Codes. And then I told them, okay, let's do the wheel. You need to practice it, you need to experience it for yourself. And I could tell when I started talking about the wheel and explaining, emotions, that my mom said, "Ooh, I can imagine that this could be helpful for me," because she's been growing up where she's been told, well, you keep yourself shut, take care of others, your emotions are not so important, look out for the others. And so she says, well, I could think this could be a help for me. And it was the same for me when I started learning about the wheel. It gives you language. It gives you language to say, to engage with what's happening inside of you, and you can verbalize it in a very simple way. So we did the wheel together. I was sitting, watching, helping them through the wheel. And it was amazing what happened. We started out with not even with a specific topic, but very quickly a topic came out and there were a lot of emotions around it. And my mom was able to express what was happening for her in a way I think she hardly ever expressed her emotions such a way. And, tears came up, she cried, and it was amazing to see my dad oohing her, seeing the connection that happened between them, and my dad being able to to respond what was happening with her, to what's the English word, to catch her, to give space for her, to hold her in her emotions. That was so beautiful. And he was not overwhelmed by her emotions. He was able to and we went through the different phrases that you learn by our connection codes. It was so special. Then my dad did the wheel, and he did amazing. It was also mind blowing. I think for him it was so relieving to hear the emotions happen to us, and that it's okay to share, and that the other can hold space for that. And in the evening, we sat together with my wife, who wasn't there the afternoon. We said, two couples of us were sitting together, and a topic came up. And I said, well, if we just talked about the wheel this afternoon, hey, let's do the wheel with that. Parents did the wheel, and again, it got so emotional. I think we all cried because it was just so amazing when you suddenly can verbalize what's happening, and deep pain, showed up. But it was not a shaming experience for my parents, but it was just so raw and real and personal, and just engaging your emotions, sharing them, experience the connection. That was beautiful. I was, wow. My parents are married for almost 50 years now, and to see, wow, even connection codes can be a game changer for them, that it was for our marriage. And it was special just for Katarina and me to sit there and watch them and seeing what happens between them. Ooh, this was just beautiful and so deep. And I think it really, this is 4 weeks ago, but I'm pretty sure it started to make a difference in their marriage. So I'm really glad that you came, because it gave me an opportunity to finally share.
Well, I wanted to mention that, I always say that shame is my favorite core emotion because it inspires us. And the shame, I remember you sharing that with us. You were like, oh, Dr. Glenn Phillips, I feel so much shame if I don't tell my own parents about the connection codes and have them do the wheel. And, shame was your consultant, your ally, and tapped you on the shoulder and said, Friedemann, dude, come on, do the thing. And you did. And you honored the shame. You listened to it. You tuned in, and you didn't drown in shame for 3 weeks, but you just said, oh, yeah. So it's just the beauty of the core emotions, partnering with us to help us be successful. But, getting to be with your parents, and they're just beautiful, amazing, wonderful people. But, they shared things that had been there for who knows how long, probably decades, which is very much our story. We just didn't know how to convey it. And I want our community just to hear the simplicity of this, because this wasn't a big stadium event that Friedemann put together for his parents. He just sat down at a table with them and said, hey, I just wanted to share some stuff with you. Emotions happen to you. Here's the core emotion wheel. And because a lot of times most of us get too complicated. We're just like, oh my gosh, we'll have to get a week away somewhere, to have the opportunity to share. No, just sit down over lunch or a cup of tea or a cappuccino, and share it. And it's just amazing. And that's part of I think the power of the connection codes is the simplicity of this.
I had several men coming up to me after the weekend, even in Berlin or in Lüneburg, and especially men who said, wow, this was just amazing. Because, I can only speak as men, but it gives us language. And I think sometimes we men struggle in what do I say? How do I say it? Isn't it weird to share things, even the little ones? For many years in my life, I thought like some emotions are too little. They're not worth sharing. I don't want to bore my wife with what's happening, not realizing that she wants to know what's happening inside of me. Even what I think is boring stuff. And then several times it's like, this is not boring for me. You're sharing very deep thoughts, but I grew up, or I felt like I don't want to be a burden to people. So why bother them with my loneliness or when I feel sad? Not realizing what's happening when I don't share, because I keep it stuffed, inside, and then opens up connection. So I was amazed how many men came and said, oh, and I was afraid of the men because I thought that they would say, oh, we don't need that. Of course I knew they needed it, because I, as a man, realized, almost 5 years ago, oh my gosh, I need language. I need tools to communicate. And the core emotion was it's just an amazing tool, and it works. It works.
Wow.
And, that's, I think, being in Europe and all the different languages, and, thanks to all of our hosts, the wheel was translated into all the different languages as we went along. And I think the power of the wheel is not an American thing.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's everywhere we've gone in the world. It's the tool. It's what, and I know it's because it's the human condition. It's what is firing in our brains, and we were created that way. So it's not any different if you are in Europe, or if you're in the US, or if you're in Canada, or in Mexico, or anywhere else in the world. We're all human. And that's one thing I feel like in this 5 weeks that we've been here, is to see that we all experience pain about the same way, about the same things. Like, we're aware of our needs within our families, and that we can miss with each other within our families, within our church communities. And, we've had such an incredible response with just these simple teachings and tools that really do speak such volumes in the faith-based community. And it's almost like, we need to understand what is happening within our bodies. And I appreciate you saying that about your own life, as when you were in ministry and as a pastor. You would just push. You would push yourself. You would not listen to your body. And then if you got really worn down, you said you would just take a pill and push on through. And at no point do you really tune in until it's almost too late, right? Until you crash. And then when you crash, you're just shocked. Like, what in the world is going on? Because you've pushed your whole life, basically. You've just keep pushing until you can't anymore. And for a lot of people, it's a faith crisis when that happens. And you begin to wonder, well, where's God? Instead of realizing, I've been ignoring the very thing that God put inside me.
Absolutely.
Say, hey, slow down, take some time. And so I just love, for us, it's been so incredible just to see that we all have so much in common everywhere we travel. And the language may be a barrier with some of us, but it's still been so great. And I'm I could just talk for an hour just about your parents and their hospitality, but their love for us and just their kindness just washed over us. And I'm just so thankful that for all these little moments. Your parents hosted a gathering at their house on Sunday night and invited friends over. And then they were the ones who were so vulnerable. They did the wheel in front of all their friends, which is so amazing to us. And again, they did it in German. So it's not even like we know what they're saying, but you could tell by those in the room, it was so moving. And that's what's so beautiful. It's like, even among your friends, to be that vulnerable, and that has such a rippling effect. It's not Dr. Glenn and Phyllis standing on a stage. That it doesn't require that. It can be so simple in a living room around a table. But you stepped out, and I'm so thankful for you, and just so proud of you, of how, just to see your journey and how you've taken this and have had this heart for making a difference. So it's been a few weeks since we've actually been with you. So any stories that stand out that have happened since, or even what is happening right now and what is next for you with Connection Codes?
Well, I think it was very special. You were in my church in Lüneburg, where I was the pastor for the last 16 years. You talked about Connection Codes, and then we did the wheel. Katarina was not feeling well, so she stayed at home. So you asked a friend of mine who was there this Saturday night, where we also did the presentation of Connection Codes, to ask him to do the wheel. And it was very special because we're not two men on stage. We're doing the wheel. And of course, it was a friend of mine, so that was way easier. But it was so beautiful. I mean, for me personally, to see how just the wheel can connect friends, because go into a deeper level. That was just really beautiful. And I thought that was very beautiful for the church to see, what's happening inside of us. Emotions came up, and it's, of course, stepping out, being vulnerable is always a challenge at first. But it's like, what you got to lose? You have to win so much. You can win a connection for people to see that the wheel works just in normal relationships. I love how the wheel works in our family with our kids. Even after they get to know you, they're so much more excited to do the wheel because they know the founder's wheel. And I think it's so amazing. Even with our son, he just turned 13. When we do the wheel, I hear things that you normally wouldn't have told me. I would have missed on. But suddenly he shares hurt or loneliness. And it's like, wow, thank you for sharing. I wouldn't have known. And we have a really good relationship. But it's not that, just out of the blue, you share the deepest emotions. Having the safe space and you're doing the wheel and you hear from, my own son, what's happening, so connected. And I feel so honored as a dad to hear him and to ooh him and to strengthen this, our relationship is very amazing. And our daughter, a few months ago, she said, well, something changed in our family. It's like, what's happening? Change. Well, the way we handle conflict, it's so much calmer. And she was very sweet. She was 14. And then it's like, when we're having conflict, I really want to be mad at you. It's just when you ooh me and when you tune into me, it's like, I can't even be mad at you anymore because my emotions are processed and I want to be mad, but I can't be mad. So why do I share this like with friends and with family? The core emotional wheel and connection codes just can really change lives and make such a difference. And I'm so excited that now that for the next 2 Wednesdays, I got to present the connection codes to a large audience of people via Zoom who are interested. I'm so excited because, it just all happened because you came and they got a taste of connection codes and like, yeah, we want to know more because we realize, yes, we understand that more depth is possible and people want to learn because, we're coded for connection. We're coded for relationship and we suffer. We don't experience the level that we long to. And there's so much loneliness in our relationships. I guess, I know as a pastor and from counseling, there's so much loneliness in marriage. And, as you said, we want to be close. We love each other. We want to thrive in our relationships, but we miss so much. And what I love about Connection Codes, it invites you to a journey. It's not that you take the course and then you're the expert and you know everything, but you learn and you grow with these tools. And kind of, our journey is now 4.5 years, and we're still on this journey. And there's grace to learn. We miss on each other. Sometimes I miss to ooh her, or she misses to ooh me, but then we can talk about it. We have tools to process. We have tools. If I can verbalize what's happening, years ago, I was hurt. I would withdraw. I would get silent. She would like what's happening. She would feel insecurity. What's happening with them? What's happening? And we were kind of hopeless. But now with the journey, we can grow. And that's what I love about the School of Connection. You learn about the connection. How it is a process. It's a lifetime journey, and there is grace, and there is no shame. And yes, we will miss, but we will grow. We will grow deeper and deeper into intimacy and connection. We'd love to listen to the podcast. They're so inspiring because, you learn and sometimes you forget and then like, oh, I can use this in this situation as well. So I just really love that there's a community and we can grow together. And I really hope for Lüneburg that we'll have a community where we can grow together because questions come up, pain comes up. Sharing even in relationships brings up difficulties. And I'm glad that I'm a certified coach, that I learned tools from you, how to coach people, because yes, connection is great. It can stir up some deep pain from the past that needs to be worked through, but there is help, there is hope. And so that's why I'm so excited that we hopefully will have a community in Lüneburg and we can grow together and say, hey, we're connection coders. If you, feel lonely, hey, here's a connection coder. He knows what you need. He knows how to give you space. Go and connect with each other. And I'm so convinced Evanoli Church, our church, it can really change communities, our neighborhoods. So I'm thrilled that neighbors are joining the Zoom tonight as well, because that we can, deepen our relationships with them as well.
So, I just am remembering that whenever we said, yes, we'll come to Germany, that you decided to translate the book into German and you took the month of August. So for 1 month, that was your focus. And what a gift to German speaking people all over. And I know it's still, I think, in the editing stages a little bit, but I know it's close to being done. And then it'll be available as on Audible or Kindle or.
Well, I hope we also get a print version of it. Yes, both the Audible version and.
But it's just so exciting, and I'm just so proud of you and thankful
Thank you.
for you. And we've talked so much in this time about the power of the wheel, and even I think, wow, you did this with your parents for the first time, overcame the fear, and just put it out there. And what a beautiful moment that was with them. And like, wow, they've been married 50 years. And doing the wheel for the first time and then sharing it with their friends. Like it's amazing to us to hear these stories. And, for our community, we want you all to be able to hear these stories and just to see that things can happen. Things can happen in your community. It takes just a little, right? It's a little spark. And I think we flame the flame. We fan the flame in Europe and in Germany specifically. I know we're coming back because we've already been asked to come back in either late spring or early summer of 2026. And, we just want to find more communities in Europe that we can come and talk to that time with. And it's just been so transformational. On all of our podcasts, we do the core emotion wheel. And so putting you on the spot, Friedemann, will you do the core emotion wheel?
Absolutely, I'd love to. I love the core emotion wheel. And I had it right in front of me here. Yes. Anger. I felt anger yesterday. I was visiting a friend who was helping me with the homepage, with my homepage. And I didn't check the traffic report before I left the house. And I just went straight into a traffic and was half an hour late. And I was angry I felt anger about myself. Shame and guilt, they are around the same topic, starting my own business starting this Saturday, November 1st. I've been very busy with homepage and planning and getting stuff done. So my wife told me that she kind of feels lonely, that I'm so sometimes present, but in my mind I'm busy. So she shared some loneliness there, and I felt some guilt and shame, that I missed looking out for her needs. I was present, but I wasn't that present. Shame and guilt there. I live fear about tonight, presenting connection codes, that all the technical stuff will work out, that the presentation will work, that the mic will work, that hopefully everyone got the hand out, and saw some fear in that. But also tons of joy that I got to present connection codes tonight with many people who were just, who heard you or either heard by people. This was great. You got to listen to it. So much more people signed up for it than I would ever imagined. Lonely, yes, I feel a lot of loneliness starting my own business. Consider, and I was a pastor for 16 years, and now moving more to being a coach and counselor. Yeah, there's some loneliness and taking all this through, and not knowing what will happen. Sad. Yeah, I felt sad this morning for all the years that where I've missed with Katarina, where I'm sad where I was not the husband that she deserved. For many years, that she felt lonely or she didn't feel connected because I wasn't able to share. Hurt. I felt some hurt by my son's behavior. He wasn't behaving very friendly, although I thought I was friendly with him. But I guess that's the life of a 13-year-old. But I felt some hurt. And then joy again, just always thinking about the time with you, how special that was. Really how connection codes changed my life, changed my marriage. It's such an impact, and that it will will even have more impact than the years that we'll have. So excited.
Yeah, I did just want to throw in because it's so significant. I mean, what you're doing is phenomenal. Touching people is just, it's just endless how beautiful that is. But for you to have other connection coders around you, and there's so much power and energy in that, and that's such a huge joy point for us personally to experience that, but then to see you developing that as well. Of course, that's what we're seeing all around the world now, little pockets of connection coders, spurring each other on because we all miss and we all need some teamship. If I miss with Phyllis, for somebody to be able to say, hey, well, what'd you miss with her? What happened for her? And I'm like, I don't know. And for them to nudge me, and that doesn't have to be a 50-minute counseling session. It's literally 2 minutes that somebody nudges me back in the right direction. It's so powerful.
Wow.
I love it.
Well, Friedemann, for those of our community that are listening, I know there's ways you don't have to just speak German to be able to reach out to you as a coach, because your English is so strong and wonderful. So if there are those listening that are like, ooh, really like to talk to Friedemann about my story, and how can people find you? How can they connect with you?
I'm in the process of building my homepage, but just go to my homepage is c-momenti.de, the German speaking c-momente.de, or just write me an email at contact@c-momenti.de. And yeah, I would like to schedule time with everybody. That's my heart, my passion.
Yes, love that. So we'll make sure that there's something in the show notes. And if that did not make sense to you, if you're listening and you're driving and you can't slow down, then always you can email at info@connectioncodes.co and ask, how do I connect with Friedemann in Germany? So we will make sure people find you. And but thank you for your time. This is just so special for us. It's been magical being with you this this fall. What month are we in? October.
Nope.
It's October. It's not summer. It's been so special, and just can't wait to come back. And
It was such an honor having you in Germany. Thank you for all your investment. That was really amazing. You inspire people, and you inspired me, and I hope we all get to inspire some more people for emotional health and for.
yes.
I always say that our population target is 8 billion people, so it's a lot to do, and it's just such a thrill and honor to have people like you on this journey with us. We're gonna get there.
Yeah, it's an amazing journey. I love it. I love you.
Thank you, Friedemann. And we do all of this.
Yes, because you need this.
You deserve this.
So
let's do this.
Wow. Thank you so much to Friedemann for coming on and sharing your journey, your vulnerable story with us. I am so inspired to hear about you sharing with your parents. What a gift to them, but also to you. I think about how many opportunities I've had to share this tool with other people, and I need to get braver myself and just sitting with friends and family and be like, let's do this together, because it changes lives. So thank you, Friedemann, for such an inspiring story. And if you're listening and you're like, I've never even downloaded the wheel for myself, I've never even done this tool for myself, today is the day, friend. Click the link in the show notes, download the Core Emotion Wheel. That is the 4-minute tool that Dr. Clint and Phyllis have created that has transformed thousands of lives, including mine, around the world, over 60 countries. And so we are just honored to share this tool with you. It is a completely free tool, which I always process brings me pain because it is so powerful, and it is worth, honestly, so much. It has transformed my children, my marriage, and even just myself. But I'm obviously not alone. And hearing Friedemann's story, and then with his parents, I am blown away. So thank you for our listeners, for those of you that show up every single week. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with your friends, for those 5-star reviews. And we are so glad that you are a part of this community. You also heard that Friedemann is a certified coach. If you are interested in our certified coaching program, where you can teach these tools to your community, to your church, to your organization, send us an email, reach out. I would love to share more with you about how you can get certified yourself. So thank you for being here. And as Glenn and Phyllis say, we do this because you need this, you deserve this. Let's do this. And that was for you, Hannah.